afternoon, good evening, everyone, wherever you're watching me from around the world. Welcome to the SA Show. This is where we talk about leadership, career, family, and anything that would help you to maximize your potential and live your best life. If you're watching me right now, I would like to give you a shout out. So please leave me your name and your location in the comment box, and we shall get this show started. So leave me your name and location in the comment box so I can give you a shout out. And as you're doing that, don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Seun Akinlotan, on Facebook at Seun Akinlotan, and Instagram as well. If you have not subscribed to this channel, please go ahead and do that right now. I'm going to introduce our guest once I give some people a shout out. So we have Tony Godoy. Peace and blessings to you, Seun, from California. Wow, all the way from the Pacific Coast, West Coast, Pacific time. West Coast, Pacific time. Oladeji Olushola from Nigeria. Oluwatosin Arodudu from Ireland. Yes, we are global. Olayemi Akinlotan from United States of America. Thank you, everyone. Omolola, I see you. I see everyone. If you have not shared this video, go ahead and share. Today, we're talking about rising above setbacks as a prerequisite for greatness. You know, life is filled with ups and downs. Sometimes we wish that we only experience the ups, but guess what? It's actually filled with ups and downs, just like the waves of the ocean. If you go to the ocean often, if you go to the beach, you'll find out that sometimes the waves are high and then sometimes they are low, sometimes they are just stable. So we're going to discuss how setbacks affect us and how we actually need setbacks in our lives to be able to attain that great height that we're dreaming of. Yes, Tony Godoy says global queen. Yes. Oladeji Olushola from Nigeria. Thank you. Ola Okegbemi, Nigeria. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. We're really grateful, and we're going to start right away. But before we start, I would like to introduce our guest for today. And our guest is none other than Jesudamilare Adesegun-David, and it goes by JD for short. He is a community transformation strategist that is passionate about transforming people and communities. He's also the co-founder of Ennovate Lab, a social enterprise promoting communities as innovations hub's approach to positioning Africa. Whoa, big grammar. To positioning Africa for relevance in a global digital and knowledge economy. So join me in welcoming Mr. JD to the Seun Akinlotan Show.
Thank you so much. It's so great to be here.
Thank you for honoring our invitation. We have people from Nigeria, from Ireland, from the US right here. Tolulope Obatunde from Nigeria. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. So, Mr. JD, how are you feeling today? Thank you for tuning in, and thank you for accepting our invitation to be a part of this show, to share from your wealth of knowledge and also to impact other people. So, how are you doing today?
I'm doing very good. Today has been a great day, and yeah, it's been an amazing day, and I'm doing very good. And also, I want to thank you for having me on this show. I consider it a privilege. So, thank you so much, for having me.
Thank you for accepting our invitation. All right, we're going to dive right in. And Mr. JD, can we meet you, please?
Okay, so my name is Jesudamilare Adesegun-David. I'm the third of three children, right? So I'm the last born. People feel like, you don't look like the last born. Well, I think life experiences, made me that way. So I'm married to Temitayo, and we've been married for about 8 years now, and we have 2 sons. I live in Ogbomoso, Nigeria. People also ask me, are you an Ogbomoso indigenous? Why are you living in Ogbomoso? Well, my parents are from Oyo State, but I schooled in Lautech, and then I just realized that Ogbomoso was a place for me to settle down in. And so I've been here for about 10 years or so after school. Yeah, so I think that's a little bit about me.
Wow. So you decided to stay in Ogbomoso after school. How did you come to that realization? That's a place that a lot of people would want to get out of, especially for what you do. You are in the tech world. Most young people would want to go to Lagos or bigger cities where they can gain visibility. So what really prompted you to stay right there in Ogbomoso?
So okay, I can't divorce my decisions from my faith, right? I'm a believer, a Christian, and the Lord told me to stay back in Ogbomoso. And that
Hmm.
was because he had things for me to do here. And I think the years have actually proven that indeed he has so many things for me to do here. So that's one of the major reasons. Then number two, I feel like I'm this person who loves solitude, you know, a quiet life, not the hustle and bustle of Lagos and all of that. And I think Ogbomoso affords you that. You're able to live life at a gentle pace here.
Okay, good. I was reading your story, and one thing that crossed my mind was the fact that your story is truly inspiring. And I feel like a lot of people need to listen to what you have to say. Your journey
Mhm.
to entrepreneurship is also quite unprecedented. Could you please share with our audience today, when was the first time you felt that evidence of being an entrepreneur? And at what point did it ever occur to you that you had those entrepreneurial qualities in you?
Okay, so that was in 2004. No, 1998 actually. So I schooled in ISI, International School Ibadan, for about one term. And then after a while, my parents told me, because they increased the school fees, and then they told me that, oh, we won't be able to afford the school fees anymore. So you have to move to Federal Government College Warri. And it was like, wow, from Ibadan to Warri, right? So I got to Warri, and then it was an entirely new experience, you know, pidgin English, boarding house, and all of that. So when I got there, one of the things I noticed was that my how will I call it now? My okay, my primary school, in primary school, I had come across this plant called African bomb, right? And so the African bomb, I discovered that it wasn't anywhere to be found in Warri. And so, you know, it just came as a light bulb moment. And I was like, if I take the African bomb from Ibadan, right? I lived in Ibadan, to Warri, I could actually get some people to sell it to. And that was how I actually took African bombs to Warri to sell. So I had this wonderful customer. It was my most amazing customer. His name is Asuko Oba. Anywhere you see this Asuko, I'm rooting for you. Thank you for actually patronizing me, you know. And so I kept selling it. And then, you know, what happens with the African bomb is that you just put a little water or spittle on it, and then it explodes. So people could use it to play pranks on each other. So they could just drop it in
Oh.
people's uniform. Exactly, right. And so that was my first experience of entrepreneurship, because it added sufficient, you know, amounts to my pocket money. And then I kept doing this all through my junior school. Yeah.
And we're talking about what age?
That was about 10, 11.
Wow. And you were able to take that plant from Ibadan to Warri to sell. Were you selling
Yeah,
inside
yeah,
the school? Because I believe you were a boarding student, so you were living
yeah,
inside the school.
yeah. I was selling in class. Okay, so I used to fill up ketchup bottles, right? So I'll fill up ketchup bottles with the African bomb, and then just take to class. So you pay. I've forgotten how much they were paying there. Maybe 1 naira for 5 of them, or 5 naira for 10 of them, or something. So I'm just going to count them out for you, and then, hey, where's the money? And then you get your African bomb, and then you go to your class. You play some pranks, and then you come back after it is finished. I want to buy some more.
That's hilarious. Wow. So where did you get this African bombs from? Did you pick it from the fields, or did you have it in your house, or did you have to plant it and grow it? Or where did you get your supplies from?
Okay, so I actually got African bomb. I mean, they're like roadside weeds, right? So there were weeds right around my area, around my school area, and so it wasn't as if I needed to plant it or I
Okay.
needed to even buy it. I just, went to pluck, the African bomb. And I want to shout out
That
to
is
my
very
sister because, yeah, I want to give a shout out to my sister because my elder sister, she supported me. She used to go with me. Like, okay, it's time to go back to school. Let's go and get African bomb.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's great. That's great that you even thought of something like that and people were willing to buy. So it was all about identifying a need in your current
Mhm.
environment. I remember when I was in high school, there was this trick. It wasn't really a big trick, but there was this trick whereby you poke your fingers with broomstick and then you
Okay.
ask someone to tap your hands and then you shake your hands like, but then the person would not know that the broomstick is actually stuck into your palm. You know, those little things
Oh
that will
wow.
teach children. It's just funny thinking about it now. But that's great
Yeah.
that you were able to pick up something and sell it to others. It's a way of
Yeah.
providing value, and I believe that's what
Exactly.
entrepreneurship is all about. As an undergrad, you tried your hands at selling books, and I know even for a fact that till now, not a lot of people embrace books, but
Mm.
you decided to sell books. What informed your decision to sell books, and what did that experience teach you? Especially because I know how hard it is to sell books to people.
Okay. So okay, I'm a voracious reader. I read as far and wide as I could, and I also could read overnight. There were days I would be reading on the street, right, on the road, because I just wanted to, finish the book. So I could be reading while walking on the road. And then my mom would tell me, Dari, don't do that. Don't do those kind of things, right? But so because I read a lot, it made it easy for me to recommend books to people. So people could say, hey, Dari, what kind of book do you think, I should read or something? And then, I'm able to tell them, oh, read this book or read that book or read that other book. And so after a while, people began to ask me, where do I get these books? So then I decided that, okay, I knew a place in Lagos because if I visit some people in Lagos, some of my relatives, sometimes, we go out and then I'm able to see that they sell books here or there. So I began to go from Ogbomoso to Lagos to buy books. Yeah, at Ikeja under bridge or something, right? So I was buying the books secondhand, and then I'll bring them to Ogbomoso, and then I'll sell. Then I also had some customers in my dad's office in Ibadan. So there were two women. One was an accountant, one was a lawyer. So they were my major clients, right? So we could have about 10 books that they were going to buy at one time, or 5 books they could buy at one time. And what I did was that by selection of books were always top notch. So I could sell them off almost at the price of new. All right. So because they felt so excited that, oh, wow, I'm getting a John Grisham book or, a Tom Clancy book, and all of that. And those were the major authors that people wanted to read back then. And so it led me to seeing that the moment you can show expertise in anything, people are willing to pay for that. People are willing to pay for value. It doesn't matter whatever it is you have expertise in. Exactly. The moment you can, you can tell a story around that expertise, people will pay for it. So it showed me that books that I loved reading, some other people had difficulties in knowing what books to buy or how to even get them. All right. So it made it easy for me to say, okay, I can help you get these books this amount, right? So that really helped me while I was, growing in school. And also another thing I just
Looks like we're having some technical difficulties.
helped me also with, it helped me with creating rapport with people that normally I might not have talked with. So because I had books on offer, it made it easy for them to, for me to get into relationship with people that I might not have had relationships with yet.
So it provided you access to other
Exactly.
people. And
Exactly.
you said that because you read the book so much, people could see your passion. People could see that this is something you love. And then by default, you became the go-to person. Not that you started out to position yourself as an authority in that area, but because people could
Yeah.
see over time that this is something you truly love and they feel like when they come to you, you can give them informed opinion on that topic that they are looking for. And then you were able to take that, make a business out of it. That is great. Absolutely. And if you're a student, you're watching us, if there's anything you love to do, just make sure that you position yourself in such a way that you are able to become that authority in that field. So, Mr. JD, one of the dreams that I personally know of many students, of many Nigerian students, is that they just want to study abroad. I remember when I was in my 300 level as well, someone had brought a brochure from the University of Maryland to class. And I just kept on looking at the brochure. I'm like, wow, I really need to travel out. I want to travel out to at least have a foreign degree. That was my dream at that time when I saw that brochure. And I know that a lot of young people right now, they are always looking for ways to live outside of Nigeria, to have that experience. And some would say, you know what, let me just go abroad, let me study a little bit, I'll come back. And you were also part of that. At a point in your life, you really wanted to travel out of Nigeria. You studied for SAT, you passed, but then you hit a roadblock during the processing of your visa. How did you react to that disappointment, and how were you able to shake it off to forge ahead?
Okay, so what happened was that experience was quite, devastating for me at the beginning, because of all the people that we, prepared for the SAT together and the TOEFL, I had the best results. And, I'd also received, how I call it, a partial scholarship from Truman State University. I was to study pre-medicine and all of that. So anticipation was high. Everybody felt like, oh boy, if there's anybody that should get to the US first, it should be, Dari and all of that. But when I got to the US Embassy, right, my visa got denied. So that was the first time. And then I felt, okay, I'm going to try again. So I tried again the next year. And this fell on my birthday, January 4. And so I felt, okay, I mean, the US Embassy should give me, how I call it, a birthday gift by giving me a visa. But unfortunately, that didn't happen, right? So I felt really devastated at first, because I just felt like, okay, I had already anchored my.
Looks like we're having technical difficulties. All right, let's go on a short break and we'll be right back. Welcome back. This is the Shima Kiloton Show. If you are just joining us, thank you for joining. With me today is Mr. Jesudamilare Adesegun-David. He is the co-founder of Ennovate Lab that is based in Ogbomoso, Nigeria. All right, so we're going to bring him back and he's going to continue the session. Welcome back. I know you're having a little bit of technical difficulty. All right, so we'll listen to your story about.
Okay, so the question you asked. Okay. So as I said, so my visa got denied the first time, and then it happened again the second time. But what had happened was that, while I was processing the visa, I had already discovered an organization called Educare Trust Exhibition Center, right, in Ibadan. It's a center for young people to just come around and, get exposed to, things. And, that those books, the books actually.
Yes, we can't hear you properly.
I used to, much more than what I had known as a Nigerian and all of that. And I saw that I could actually make. Okay.
The network is bad. All right. he's having a little bit of technical difficulties, but let's talk about what he has said so far. When you are in an environment, Yetunde Adedokun watching from Lagos, Nigeria, when you find yourself in an environment and you seem not to find a way forward, he went for the visa, he was denied the visa, what is the next thing to do? Do you then sit down and say, oh, your life is over? Or do you pick yourself from that situation and then look for ways to move forward? One of the things that I have personally realized in my own life and in my journey so far is that most times, even the solutions that we're looking for outside of our immediate environment are actually inside our immediate environment. So it's important that even if we experience certain setbacks, it's important that we also try to look inward, because in the process of trying to look outward for the next big thing, we tend to ignore the things that are in our environment. So we need to make sure that as much as we're looking forward to attaining greater heights, we're also looking inwards and seeing things around us. Take a walk instead of driving. Sometimes you might be surprised what you would see in your environment. I know this happens to me sometimes. I will be taking a walk down the street and I'm like, wow, I didn't know this business was there. I didn't know this structure was here. But those are the things that you can't see when you are driving. And then sometimes you might need to drive instead of taking a walk, because when you drive, you see certain things that you might not be privy to, especially when you're on the highway. You look down from the highway, you see things that you cannot see when you are walking. So it's always a great idea when you view things from different heights to know exactly what is around you. And another thing that we can also do is to pray. We need to pray and ask God to open our eyes to opportunities around us. I'm going to bring in Mr. JD again, and hopefully his network is great this time. Welcome back, Mr. JD.
Thank you so much. I'm really so sorry about the experience.
It's okay. It's okay. I actually anticipated it because I know that some locations in Nigeria, they have problems with network. So I'm going to move on to the next question without further delay. You were also involved in some advocacy work, which I thought it was interesting. You were working in a campaign against tobacco in public places in Nigeria. I know that you were, from that point, because of that advocacy work, you were also a part of a delegation that represented Nigeria in India. Yes, so you were finally able to travel out. And could you shed more light on what that work was all about?
Okay. Can you repeat the final part of your statement?
I was asking that you shed more light as to what that work was all about, because I know that, advocacy work sometimes can be tricky. Just tell us a little bit about what you did and what impact you had on the people that you were trying to do it for. All right.
So, yeah, I'm going to just, talk about. Okay, so I'm just going to talk about that experience for me, right? But the interesting thing is that even that experience still led to a form of disappointment. So I'm going to share about that. I said I was part of an exhibition center called Educate Trust, and while I was volunteering at Educate Trust, Mr. Folorosho Moshood and Dr. Tony Marino, who were like Dr. Tony Marino founded Educate Trust, and Mr. Folorosho Moshood was the administrator. So they exposed us to advocacy, advocacy for better health and all of that. So myself and a friend, we began to go from get people to sign. We needed 1 million signatures, to actually get presented at the United. So young people from all over the world actually were going around in their countries getting signatures that could actually be presented at the United Nations to outlaw smoking in public places. That's because you see, secondhand smoke, that is, if you're sitting beside somebody who is smoking, you are more exposed to danger than even the person who is smoking. That's because
Smoking.
your body doesn't have any defense mechanism. Exactly. Your body doesn't have any defense mechanism because you are not exposed to it. And of the 7,000 chemicals in a puff of cigarette smoke, about 250 of them are carcinogenic. Yeah, 7,000
Wow,
chemicals. Yeah,
that's a lot.
exactly. That's a lot. And there are about 250 of them that are carcinogenic. All right. So cancer, gets caused by inhaling, smoke. Exactly. Right. So one of the things we did was that we went from school to school. I remember I had to do things I had not been able to do before, like stand before a lecture hall of 1,200 people and talking to them about, the ills of smoking and how we needed their signatures, all right, to actually get to the United Nations. So when we did that, we're successful. Well, on the level in Nigeria, we're able to get people to, sign. But globally, we didn't get up to 1 million signatures. We got about 250,000 or so. But it was something that was worthwhile. And do you know the interesting thing was that actually our efforts made a difference, because after about 6 months, Abuja was declared a smoke-free city. Well, it was actually declared like that, but it might not have actually been enforced, but it was declared because there was a feedback from the United Nations to actually make Abuja a smoke-free city. So that effort made us realize that the fact that we're in Nigeria was not a limitation. Your location is not a limitation to making change happen. No matter where you find yourself, if you can have, a global mindset, there is no limits to what you can do. And one of the things that also helped us was that we discovered the internet early enough. And so the internet became a gateway to the world. You didn't have to limit yourself to friends in just Nigeria or friends in your immediate vicinity. We had friends, we had networks all over the world that we worked together. So that experience of mine actually opened me up to the level of advocacy I now began to pursue some years after. Yeah.
Wow. So I love how you said your location is not a limitation. And one of the reasons why people say they are yet to start their business or they are yet to launch something is actually location. Location always rank high when people give reasons why they didn't go after a goal, or they didn't start their business, or they didn't launch whatever it is that they have in their heart to launch. So you saying that location is not a limitation. And I would love to add to that. Location, even if you feel like your location is a limitation, there's always something that you can tweak in the idea that can make it fit that particular location that you are. But I absolutely agree with you. Location is not a limitation. And thank you for sharing that. So you also shared that you left social media for 5 years, and that seems impossible these days, especially if you have a business that you're trying to grow and you're trying to reach people. How were you able to cope with leaving social media for 5 years, and what exactly were you doing when you were away? Did we get you on that? Did you hear my question? All right, so we're going to go on another short break and we'll be right back.
All right, so one of the things that, yes, I did. Yes, I did.
The network is...
Yes, so...
Okay, I'm hearing you now. We'll go on a short break and we'll be right back.
Okay.
Welcome back. This is the Seun Akinlotan Show. My name is Seun Akinlotan and I'm your host for today. We're talking about how to rise above setbacks and how rising above setback is actually a prerequisite to greatness. Our guest today is Mr. JD for short, and his full name is Jesudamilare Adesegun-David. We're going to bring him back on. All right, Mr. JD, are you here? Is he here? Oh, he's actually not here at the moment. Okay, so hold on one second. All right, he's having some technical difficulties with his network. We're going to bring him on again. Can you bring him on, please? Is he here? Oh, he's not here. Hello? Hello? Can you hear me?
I mean,
all right.
Yeah, yes, I mean.
Okay. Okay. All right. So
yeah,
the network is not great at all, and we still have quite a number of questions. I can hear you now.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. So I'm going to move on because the network is interfering with our work, and I really want you to answer some of these questions. So I'm going to move on. I'm going to skip some questions. So let's talk about your work with Ennovate Lab. You are the co-founder of Ennovate Lab. Could you please tell us what you do and how you came up with this transformational concept? Okay. I wish the network was really nice so that people could understand where you're coming from and the great work that you're doing in the community. Yes, so we can't hear him, unfortunately. Can you hear me now? All right, that's fine. Thank you everyone for joining us today. The network would not cooperate and we have to end this show, but thank you everyone for joining us today. We hope that your time has been worthwhile, and we'll see you next week by God's grace. Until next time, be exceptional, be intentional, and be on point.